moving on after the final, Ambati Rayudu made some interesting comments in front of Matthew Hayden and Kevin Peterson
Mm.
and Mayanti Langer. Um, it was the comment saying Virat Kohli, the way Virat Kohli plays and carries himself on the field, he's set such an high standard, such an exceptional standard that the youngsters in the team feel the pressure, and hence Virat Kohli needs to tone it down a bit. Basically, that's what he said, which I just find it bizarre, isn't it? As a former international cricketer, Ambati Rayudu knows best how what happens inside a dressing room and what happens on a
Yeah,
field. And if a youngster is feeling pressured by how the veterans and the seniors are playing cricket, then
that person
unfortunately
does that youngster.
they are not in the right place.
They do not belong there. 100%.
Exactly. And e- especially as an Australian, you tell me, as an Australian, if this was the case a few years back, when imagine walking into the dressing room of Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne, Jason Gillespie,
Yeah,
Ricky Ponting, Adam Gilchrist, Matthew Hayden, Justin Langer, the list goes on and on. And
yeah.
Brett Lee, and here's a youngster. If you walk into that dressing room, would you wouldn't expect them to pander and to play to your standard. You have to come up
No
to
way.
their standard.
That's right. 100%. You got to be the sponge, soaking it all in, and lifting your game and your standards if you want to be part of that Australian team. Right? There's no mucking around. And imagine, I think with Ambati Raidu, he's saying this stuff next to two mentality monsters, I think, in KP and Hayden, because those two, the biggest strength of theirs was their mentality and
Yeah.
how they wanted to dominate and get over the top of bowlers.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin
But
Peterson in his first test took down Shane Warne and Glenn McGrath in the
yes,
Ashes. So
exactly, exactly. Um, that's the thing. I think in society in general, we get that. It's like, oh man, this person is, I feel threatened by their success, or I feel threatened by their standards. No, no, you got to look at it a different way. It's like, no, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen from
yep.
from Ryu.
And
For to get
you know,
Kohli to bring his standards down, it's up to the youngsters and giving the youngsters the message that this is what you got to aspire to, because it's not just his
yes.
performance and what he does on the field; it's his hard work off it.
Yep.
Virat Kohli's success is not overnight.
No.
The guy works hard on his fitness and on his batting day in, day out. And that's what you got
I
to
mean,
aspire to, man.
he's 36, 35, almost 36. He runs like a machine, and even in tests he doesn't give up any runs. He's running hard for seconds and thirds in any format. And I
Case in
mean,
point was last year's World Cup when in Mumbai, everyone was going down in Mumbai in the
yep.
humidity. And
Yep.
he was just sprinting twos and threes,
Absolutely.
even
And
when
and
he was
that's the
out there
thing.
for 3 hours.
You know what? Sometimes I just don't understand. So as an Indian fan, as an
Yeah,
Indian cricket watcher growing up, I grew up watching players, foreign players like I mentioned, Ricky Ponting, Glenn
yeah,
McGrath, Jason Gillespie, even
yeah.
New Zealand players like Stephen Fleming, Chris Keynes, and Daniel Vittori. West Indies players, some brilliant players, and Chris Gale
Yes.
and Ramnir Sarwan and Darren Ganga and Shivnaran Chandapol and
Brian Lara,
play
of course.
Brian Lara, of course, and players, especially speaking about the Australian players. When we used to play Australia, I absolutely hated it. I just hated Australia. I just hated everything about them. I hated Ricky Ponting. I hated literally everyone from that team as a kid supporting India. I just
Yep.
wish, and everyone around me, my friends, family, everyone said the same thing. Why can't our players play like that? Why can't we were as a while going for cricket coaching and clinics and everything, the
Mm.
coaches used to mention the Australian players. You should feel like them, you should play like them, you should bowl like them. The thing is, now that we have these players who are playing like that, we have players like Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Yashasvi Jaiswal, who don't give a shit about anyone. They don't.
Yeah, that's true.
They are the new. Basically, they have the mentality of the new India, that we are here to win. We are here to stay, and there's nothing you can do about it. But
Mm.
which was similar to what Australians had, let's say in 2003, 2004, 2005, that era of Ricky Ponting and all those were always in your face. And
Yeah.
you know now we have those players, and now we are trying to sort of tone them down and cut them
Yep.
into like
No,
what we think should be moral and ethical, but it doesn't work like
no.
that.
It's about winning. It's
Exactly.
about winning. It's about driving your standards up, right? You got to aim to be the best you can be. If someone else threatens you by their sheer work ethic and their fitness and their regimes, and well, then you're in the wrong business. Go do something else.
I mean,
You're in the wrong space.
exactly.
No
Whenever
question about it.
someone, yeah, exactly. Whenever you know this best as an Australian growing up watching that team, I mean, it was so good to
Yes,
see them, wasn't it, as a kid?
it's of course amazing. I mean, the talent was there, but it's the mentality first and foremost. It's the mentality we're not losing. Ricky Ponting in 2007, before the World Cup, Australia, there was doubts about the Aussies because they lost 3-0 in New Zealand just before the tournament.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not having any of this. He goes, we're going to go out and utterly dominate. You doubt us, you wait and see.
Yeah.
And Australia won every game by a country mile and
I
won the
mean, if
World Cup with
2003
ease.
was their best performance, I don't know what 2007 was. 2007 was just out of the world.
Out
And
of the way, it was even more dominant than 2003 because
yeah,
2003 they were in trouble in some games.
yeah,
There was none of that in 2007.
yep, yep. And
So
and
they
that's
got
the
even
thing.
better, right? Yeah.
Exactly, and that's
And
what
there's
I
different
think about.
players, and it was different players that came into
Absolutely.
2007 as well. There was Michael Clark and Brad Hodge
Yeah,
and Nathan Bracken was there, and there was different players that came into that team in 2003, but they didn't miss a beat because when you come into that team, you got to buy into what that team is doing. You got to
absolutely.
come up to speed and match the
Absolutely.
standards that are set by the players in there. They're not there to tone it down. Imagine
No.
Ricky Ponting was next to Ambati Rayudu on the panel. You would have
Oh,
gone,
I would have
sorry.
loved that. I would have loved that. And that's the thing. That's, bringing the
Yeah.
point to Ambati Rayudu and what he said. It doesn't work like that.
It's a poor
These players,
mentality. It really
yeah,
is a loser mentality.
exactly.
Loser.
Exactly.